Welcome to Football Discussion Daily. My name is Joe, and I'm here with a co-host,
TGO.
CGO, or George. We are releasing this on the 6th of May, 2026. Quick reminder, please like us, subscribe to us. We release long form on YouTube every day. We release short form on Instagram and TikTok every single day. So, in news on Tuesday, the Arsenal versus Atletico game happened. It was in London. They drew 1-1 away in Spain, in Madrid, and this is the return leg. Arsenal went through 2-1 on a goal by Saka at the end of the first half. Atletico were probably the worst team overall today, but definitely had their chances. There are a couple referee incidents that we will talk about, George and I. But I think Simeone said after the match that Arsenal over 180 minutes were the better team. George, I saw Diego Simeone say that over the course of 180 minutes, do you feel like Arsenal deserve to go through? Were they the better team?
Well, in all honesty, Arsenal deserve to go through, and I'm sure before the match, most football analysts would have predicted that Arsenal will go through, considering the way Atletico has also been performing this season. They've not been that spectacular this season, so it wasn't a surprise to me that Arsenal went through. Arsenal is a better side, even for both legs. Arsenal, I would say they deserve to go through. So I'm not surprised with what happened. I didn't really see much from Atletico, and I wasn't having that kind of high expectation when it comes to surprise from Atletico in this game. Probably if we have had maybe Barcelona playing against Arsenal at this stage of the competition, maybe then people might have different opinions on who would go through. But for this one, it was a bit easier for people to
Yeah.
predict Arsenal will go through.
No, I agree, George. I think on the grand scheme of 180 minutes, Atletico's goal last week was a penalty. They didn't score from open play. They had a couple incidents. Let's talk about the goal first, George. They had a couple incidents today that might have been a penalty, but we'll talk through those. But you can't plan on not scoring from open play in 180 minutes and going through. Arsenal's defense is exceptional. It's been their best quality all year, and it was exceptional for 180 minutes. I 100% agree. George, the Arsenal goal today, there was Gyökeres made a run in behind. Saliba made a pass in behind. It was wonderful. Gyökeres had a ton of space in the box. Probably not the angle. Gyökeres did the right thing, held the ball up, waited for more attackers to come in, crossed the ball in. Saka kind of finished after some bouncing, after some rebounds. I think just overall, this was fantastic ball by Saliba. I think is probably the one who's the most to blame for this ball. I think Gyökeres did very well. But overall, just very impressive team goal from open play, something that Arsenal has, I don't want to say struggle with, but they haven't been as good as you would expect a team that's second in the Premier League and the Champions League final to be. They've had, exceptional set pieces, exceptional defense. Probably underwhelming might be a word I'd use for their open play goals. George, what stood out to you most about this goal?
We must give credit to William Saliba for that line-breaking pass. You see that one of the Atletico defender, I think he had a little touch on it because he was trying to stop the ball, but the ball got to Victor Gyökeres, who did the right thing by pulling out the ball. And then we had Leandro Trossard. He was able to maneuver his way, and he took a very good shot that Oblak was able to parry, but Saka was there at the right spot. He reacted very fast to make a rebound, and the ball went into the net. So it was a very good goal by the Arsenal team, well worked goal. And if you look at the game, Arsenal had even uh, more creation of chances in the game than Atletico. Atletico had their own chance also, but they couldn't take advantage of it. Apart from that, David Raya was very, very good in this game today. And
Yes.
Arsenal defense, he made some very beautiful blocks, made some very good tackles that really made them to win to this game. If they weren't that good defensively, maybe Atletico would have come back
Yeah.
into the game. But they did
So
a very
George,
good job in the game.
there's one incident. There's two incidents. Let's talk about the first one where I feel like Atletico fans were saying. I saw some stuff on the internet where people were like, "Oh, this might have been a penalty." Let's talk about the first one. This one, there's a ball over the top to Simeone, the coach's son. His one-on-one, he has Gabriel. He kind of does one touch and lofts the ball up. He has a little scuffle with Gabriel. He at the ends with the player going down. Gabriel getting a nick on the ball, hitting it out of bounds for a corner. There's some thoughts. I've seen some people say, "Oh, but Gabriel touched him quite a bit before touching the ball. That it was a denial of the goal scoring opportunity." Let me say, my thoughts are, Gabriel was dumb to give any amount of contact. This was not enough contact for. I feel like if the player goes down here, this is a penalty. I feel like too, this is probably not enough contact for the player to go down. I feel like Gabriel, it was dumb to give that player the opportunity to do that. And this is a situation where, again, the player goes down. This is a penalty and probably a red card. And it's unfortunate that that's incentivized in this game, but that player didn't do that. It appeared, therefore, that it was not sufficient contact to alter the play before Gabriel does get a touch on the ball. Is my take on this. I think that it's a very, very difficult. This is right on the border for me of this is a penalty or this isn't. What are your thoughts, George?
The truth is the contact was not enough to give a penalty in such situation. And if you look at it, even the Simone didn't really take full control of the ball. Because if he had taken full control of the ball, probably the contact would have been much clearer for the referee to give a penalty. That was the reason why himself even struggled to even get the final touch. And Gabriel was able to get the ball out to the corner kick. That was what happened during that incident. So there was not enough contact to give a penalty for that incident, if we are just being honest. But you know, football fans are always emotional when it comes to issues like this. But if you want to be objective, you can't give that as a penalty. That would be very
Okay.
funny if that is done.
George, the next incident happened, I think, a little later in the game where there was an incident where it was, again, another ball into the box. I think that it was it was one of the other Atletico attackers was attacking, and I think it
That's
was,
Griezmann.
and no, it was eventually Griezmann, but another Atletico attacker, I forget who, was going for the ball. Gabriel again tries to go for the ball, probably misses, might have hit the player goes down. The ball bounces to Griezmann, and Calafiore hits the ball out. People are saying that he hit Griezmann without touching the ball, and there's a little controversy there because both of these are very maybe marginal. I thought there's nothing in this whatsoever. I think both incidents were players going for the ball. This should never be a penalty. I don't think the Atletico players were asking for a penalty. I think people were clutching at straws with this one, George. What are your thoughts? Do you remember the incident I'm talking about?
Of course, I remember the incident you're talking about. Now, the first incident that happened where Gabriel had a contact with one of the Atletico forward, if you look at it, you see that somehow Gabriel was somehow fouled before we had Ricardo Califiori, fouling Griezmann. So what happened is that if you look at that first incident, made the referee not to award a penalty. If the first incident didn't happen, I'm sure a penalty would have been given to Atletico Madrid. So what happened first made the referee not to go ahead to give Atletico Madrid a penalty because Califiori fouled Griezmann. There was a clear contact to what happened.
Interesting.
So if not for the first
But
incident,
George, to your point earlier, though, Griezmann didn't have full control of that ball.
no, he was trying to dribble this guy called Califiori, and then Califiori stretched his leg, and then there was a contact. So he was in control of the ball. So it's different from the first incident. If you take your time and look at what happened, he had control of the ball. From what happened in the first incident, where we say he fouled Gabriel in that incident, and then Griezmann had control of the ball, trying to beat
Okay.
Calafiori, and Calafiori stretched his leg and then had a contact that made Griezmann to fall. So
I'm
if not
watching
for
it on
what
my other
happened
screen.
first,
I'm watching on
go
my
ahead.
other screen right now. I'm watching on my other screen right now. I really didn't see enough contact here, but I'm open to being wrong. I'd love to know what the viewers' thoughts. I want to move on to just some more. That was really interesting talk about the game. I want to talk to more narrative focused things, just about the final, about Arsenal's season, about Atletico's season, just because a lot of these things are culminating at the same time, George. Um, Narrative wise, the narrative this season has been that I've actually expressed in the last 10 minutes on the program is that Arsenal's defense is great, their attack is not great. I think that we can all agree that Bayern and PSG both have fantastic attacks, better than probably anybody Arsenal has faced this year. I think that Arsenal did face Bayern in the group stages of the Champions League and did quite well, but it's very different in the final where Bayern will be motivated and care because they know it's one stop, or PSG would be. Do you feel like there's in the grand scheme of things, do you think right now that Arsenal's defense can kind of keep them in the game against an attack that is one of the two? I think the two best attacks in Europe they're going to face. One of the two best attacks in Europe they're going to face in the next round. Do you feel like Arsenal's defense can hold up against that over 90 minutes?
The issue is that Arsenal must they must really be well prepared to face any of these two sides, because if you look at the, the attacking formation of these two teams, PSG and Bayern Munich, you as a defender, you must be well prepared for you to stand them. And it is not going to be easy, because for the whole 90 minutes, you have to be on your toes. It won't be that easy. The defense of Arsenal will really be tested when they play for example, maybe a Bayern Munich that has a a Luis Diaz, that has Harry Kane, that has Sunday, Michael Olise. And then you look at the PSG front three, you have Kvaratskhelia, you have Ousmane Dembele, and then you have Desire Doué, or maybe they can bring in somebody like Bakola. These guys are very good attackers. They are very good when it comes to shooting. They are very good when it comes to link up play. They have a lot of qualities that will make any defender to grow gray hair. So
You're right.
it's not going to be easy for them. Their defense will really be tested on that day. So, and if you look at the attack of this side, they are better off than the Arsenal attack. If we are being honest, the strength of Arsenal this season has been their defense. But in times of attack, I don't think they have that kind of
Of course.
attacking prowess
And,
like
and
these other teams we talked about.
And George, I mean, nobody thinks Arsenal does, but I think that there are people out there who think that they can. Arsenal's defense is good enough to keep it tight against PSG or Bayern for 90 minutes is very different than 180 minutes too, and but I'll say too that I think it depends too on. I'm not sure Ben White is capable, but I don't know if Julian Timber, if he's going to be healthy. I think he's a much better defender. If I'm an Arsenal
Yes.
supporter and I see Guevara, if I see Diaz, who's going against Ben White, or Ben White, I'm scared. If I see him going against Timber, I'm a little more confident. And also, playing for 90 minutes is very different than 180 minutes. For 90 minutes, you can get a little lucky. Harry Kane's only you get two chances, or Doué or Dembele's only get two or three chances. Versus over 180 minutes, they're going to get five or six. Very different game. Neutral venue, very different as well. Final, very different. Finals tend to be cagier. Finals tend to have less chances in general, just because both teams are a little nervous and don't want to make a singular mistake. So I do think their defense is keeping it. I don't think ultimately it will. I do think that they will lose to whoever they face, but it'll certainly be interesting. George, we got to go quick through these. But next question, Antoine Griezmann this is officially almost certainly now is leaving Atletico at the end of the season. He's been there for 8 seasons, 9 over 2 stints. Hasn't won a major trophy there. Do you feel like how do you feel like that impacts his legacy? He's won a World Cup. He has never won La Liga, I believe, in 10, 12 years in Spain. He's just underwhelming in terms of club trophies. Do you feel like it impacts his legacy as one, in my opinion, the best forwards of this generation?
Well, I think when you talk about Atletico Madrid, Antoine Griezmann is one player that I'm sure any Atletico fan will always talk a lot of great things about. He has really done. He hasn't had a bad time in Atletico Madrid so far as I'm concerned. He has really done well. But sometimes what people remember you for is what are the number of trophies and what are the awards you've won while you were playing for a particular team. So that's just the only area because he has been very, very unlucky while playing for Atletico Madrid. I think the only thing he has won with Atletico Madrid has been I think Europa League is what he has won with them, the Super Cup,
He
but
won a couple
Champions.
Super Cups.
Yes, I think he won once UEFA Super Cup and then won Europa League. But when it comes to Champions League, the Atletico are only be fortunate because they only be fortunate to end up as runners up because they lost the finals. I think Real Madrid. That's one thing they will not like about Real Madrid because I think the two
Griezmann's
times,
actually Yeah, Griezmann's actually only lost one final in
yes,
the
one
Champions
final.
League. He was
Yes,
not
yes.
in the team yet in 2013-14. But I don't know if George, I just brought it up. I think it's interesting. It's a sad end to his career. I think he's such a fun player to watch. He works so hard. He's creative. He's smart. I actually did rewatch that, and I do agree it's a penalty that could have been called. There's a lot of merit that should have been a penalty. I'm surprised that Calafiori challenge on Griezmann was not called. George, let's move on again. Just continue. We got to get through all this. There's just a lot of narratives here in this game. I do think that right now, actually, Arsenal is probably favored to win the Premier League and the Champions League, just because they will be not favored tomorrow to win the Champions League. Because whoever comes out of that Bayern PSG game will be favored over Arsenal. But right now, Arsenal is favored just because there's three teams, and Arsenal is at least guaranteed a playoff spot, a spot in that final. Isn't it? Arteta's legacy over the next 3 weeks could change so much. So he could win a double, and it will be the best Arsenal season by far in the last 30, 40, 50 years, or he could win nothing and be a disappointment. I mean, how much do you feel Arsenal is up to this challenge mentality-wise, and do you feel like it's a possibility that if they don't win anything, that Arteta might actually step down or get sacked? Do you feel like there's any merit in that?
The issue is that if he doesn't win anything this season, I just have a feeling that they will still keep him because those who are in charge of Arsenal, they are not ready to try other coaches. They feel maybe the more time they give to Arteta, then the more likelihood they are going to win something. That's the mentality at Arsenal. Arsenal is not that, they are not that club run like maybe Chelsea, Real Madrid, where either you deliver a trophy or you are shown the exit door. They don't operate that way. So even if he doesn't win anything, I feel they would still keep him. But I know some of the football fans will not agree with that. They will think, no, if you can't give us a trophy after being in charge of this team since December of 2019, then you don't deserve to remain at the club. I foresee a situation where
Yeah,
even if he doesn't win anything, they will still want
I
to give
guess
him more time.
I guess the question I was asking, I don't think anybody disagrees the Arsenal board is patient. I guess the question is, are they too patient? And I think there's some merit in that. I think that I don't know how Arteta acts behind the scenes. It seems like he has the respect of the players, respect of the team. I wouldn't fault him at all for losing a Champions League final. I think at this point, if he were to lose another league, that reflects poorly on him and his mentality as a manager. Of course, again, this is very nitpicky. Arteta has been fantastic. He put uh, Arsenal in a city where they challenged City fantastically for 3 of the last 4 seasons, and they're pushing City to the limit and are still favorites at this point to win the league, given City's result the other day. I just think it's very interesting. So we'll see. A lot of soccer left to be played. I don't even think it's worth talking about until that stuff happens, but we're here to talk about it. George, let me just close out with our standard question. Quick questions. Who's playing Arsenal, Bayern PSG in the final? Who's playing Bayern or PSG against Arsenal in the final? Number 2, If Arteta wins nothing, is there a chance he's gone? Number 3, how does Griezmann's lack of trophies impact his legacy, if at all? George and I don't think it does. Number 4, is the Griezmann incident today a PK? Is the Simeone incident today a PK? And number 6, who on Arsenal impressed you the most, and who was most influential in that goal? Let us know your thoughts. Thank you for listening.